The free Excel course that you're about to watch is just a small part of Microsoft Office full course bundle. So if you want to also master Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint with my teaching style and also be able to gain a certificate of completion for the course you're watching, you can feel free to tap the first link in the description right now and join us over there in a fraction of cost. Also mentionable that this course is brought up to you by the Takeoff College, the smartest alternative currently available to the traditional education. With all that being said, I'm very excited to get started, so let's go. A very interesting way of working with data and viewing our data and going through it in order to make conclusions out of it that Excel provides us with. So basically a very interesting view of the data that Excel provides us with is these pivot tables that we have inside Excel. In order to go through them, at first, let me again open up another document that I have over here, a sample data for pivot table, and I click open. As you see, it's not editable, protected view, so I click enable editing, and then I will be able to make my changes over here. So here basically, as you see, I have a table providing me with information about my customer, my customers, the product category that they purchased, the date, the quantity, the revenue, and everything. And I select this data, and going through the Insert tab, I click Recommended Pivot Tables. So what this button does is basically the same as what recommended charts used to do. As I said, recommended charts goes through the data that we have and somehow detects our kind of, how can I say, desired, styles of charts that we may want for this very specific content that we are selecting. And recommended pivot tables will do basically the same. So we have plenty of presets that it provides us with, which are pretty cool for this specific content that we have over here. And by choosing each of them and clicking OK, you will be familiar with the concept of pivot tables. So this is what we have basically for pivot tables. Over here, as you see, we have row labels, sum of quantity. I can open these up. So it has, for example, this very specific kind of table has categorized the orders of mine with the names. So it has listed the names. I can collapse the names, and under the names, I can say the dates and the quantities of each order. And as you see here, we have sum of quantity. So the data that is not at all even mentioned here are the money that they have spent. So the revenue, as you see, is unchecked. The region, the product category, and order ID. So this is basically a pivot table. So let me delete it and create mine by selecting this data, coming to Insert, and clicking this pivot table from table/range. So first it says that what is your range. If you select your table, it will automatically provide it with the range. But if you want to get familiar with the addressing system that we have over here, as you see, first we have the name of the sheet. Then we have this specific mark. We have $, A, which is about the column. So we have column A, $1. So 1 is the number of the row. So A1 is this order ID. This is about addressing. So I'll mention it again a little bit further. But then we have this little thing over here. Then we have again $ G, the column G, and the row 21, so G21. And this is the range, this is the area that we've selected. And by clicking OK, our pivot table, as you see, will be created. So I zoom in a little bit. And as you see here, we have filters, columns, rows, and values. So let me add, for example, let me add dates to rows. So as you see, we have the dates that orders have happened inside those dates. And then I add customer under them. So as you see now, my content is actually, and my data is actually sorted and categorized by the date that each purchase has happened. And as you see, we have no two purchases happening in a common date. So this is probably not that much of a smart kind of categorizing, but this is what you can see, you know. So I remove it. I remove this field. I remove this field. Then, for example, I want to add category to my rows. So we have apparel, books, electronics, and home. And then I add customers inside that apparels. So then I will be able to see that, to that product categories, not apparels. And then I will be able to see that for each category, which customers are interested. So this is very, very cool. I actually love pivot tables because, as you can see, they are amazing, you know. They are basically everything that we need in order to analyze the data that we have collected. So this is, as you see, the name of people who are interested in those specific categories. And then I can add something to filters. So I say quantity. And then if I open this up and I say quantity 2, okay, only the customers who have had purchases with the quantity of 2 will be visible. You know what I'm saying? So these are filters. I remove it. We have columns as well as rows. So I say the revenue, for example, you know, and these are added as columns over here. So for example, one thing that I can do is that I can use product category as a column. And as you see now, we have, for example, those customers, and then we have categories, and then we can create a relationship over here. So we can say that I want the order IDs to be listed here, you know. We have values over here as well. So if I change and I move this order ID to this values, as you see, it will create a sum of all order IDs of Alice in this category, for example, you know. So I move it out, I remove it. One thing I can do is that I can bring this revenue inside value, and it will be very cool. So now it is using the info that we gave it. So the info comes from this table, if you remember, right? This is the table. So this is actually going through all the customers that we have had and is saying that inside each category, how much money has this customer spent overall. So this is sum of revenue. This is the summary of the money that they have spent. Or sum of quantity, for example. So I can bring it over here, just like you see. So for example, as you see, Alice has only bought one apparel kind of a thing, but has bought 11 books, you know, as you see. So pivot tables are basically it. You can play with these in order to get familiar with them. This is more of a functionality thing and more of an analysis tool rather than a tool of creation or an editing tool. And I love it. As you see, this is a lovely tool inside Microsoft Excel. And just like what you learned, you can go through different kind of sample data and play with these in order to get familiar with it and in order to learn how to use it appropriately inside your projects.